Okay, so we were talking about your rating scale. Let's have it.
Absolutely right. So let's say that we can attribute value to human life. And each of us starts off as a blank slate with 100 points, right? And then we look at you and we try and make some inferences about you. So we say, all right, what is the color of your skin? And if you're not white, sorry for you. You've lost 5 points. And then we say, are you a man or a woman? If you're not a man, sorry for you. You've lost 5 points. Are you in between the ages of, let's say, between 25 and 49 years? No, you lose 5 points. If over and above that, you happen to be above the age of, say, 65 or 70, you'll lose a further 5 points. Are you straight? If you're not, you lose 5 points. Do you come from a background of middle class, upper class? If not, you've lost 5 points. Do you have a college education? Do you have a job? Etc., etc., etc. And at the end of it, we come up with a figure. We come up with a value for a human being. And if you are the cisgender, heterosexual, white man, you will be a lot closer to 100 points than if you are an LGBT woman of color, for example, or someone with a disability, etc., etc., etc. And the value that we get, and we get this value not from asking you anything, not from listening to your voice. We get it from looking at you. You have, remember what I said about assigned at birth, it's done to you. This value is also assigned to you. You make the decisions about you. And then we decide, how much weight does your voice carry in society? How likely is it that if you say something, you will be heard? What are the chances that you will become the target of violence? It's all influenced by your score.
Yeah, agreed.
And that is where the power dynamic and the patriarchy are active. That's where it is. So, shall we come back to our friend Elmo?
Yeah, Elmo, are you ready? Elmo's feeling a little bit embarrassed. He always thought, he's always been called he, but now he went to go look like you said he should. They went to go look like they said you should, and they're not really sure which bits and pieces they have, and now they're totally confused and they don't know what to do, and they're very shy and embarrassed.
And that's fair enough, because we do assign a lot of shame to people that we see as being different. And this is a huge problem, especially if their bodies don't fit into those expectations. Now, we've already said that understanding someone's sex is a very complex discussion. And for most of us, we can't be 100% certain as to what our sex is. But we've also said that gender identity is in between the ears and it belongs to the individual. And sometimes it will be in line with biological sex, and sometimes it won't. So if Elmo tells us what their gender identity is and what their pronouns are, do we need to be concerned about what's in between their legs in order to validate it? No, we don't. No, we don't. Elmo is whoever they know themselves to be. And I can't tell by looking at Elmo or by looking in between their legs to know what that is. When Elmo tells me, I have to believe them. They don't need to prove it in order to make that identity valid. Now, how does that make you feel, Elmo?
They're so happy.
Jumping for joy.
Jumping for joy. Indeed.
And this is what happens when we challenge the assumptions and we challenge these ideas and we actually scrutinize them, firstly through a scientific lens, as we did at the beginning of this discussion, and also through an ethical lens, through our own principles. Do we really believe that it's okay for some people to be treated differently or afforded more respect based on skin color, based on sexual orientation, based on gender, based on disability or race or age, etc., etc. We don't have to do everything the way that it's always been done. We have a right and a responsibility to question it and to make our own decisions.
Brilliant as always, informative as always. Elmo is thrilled. They have a twin. There's a twin Elmo in the house. I think they're going to have a lot to talk about the rest of the day. I would like to thank you so much yet again. Are there any last thoughts before we sign out?
No, just to say that you'll know where to find me. And it's always a pleasure to have this platform and to engage in the discussion, and just to say that we grow through questioning and we grow through learning, and it's a starting point for a discussion, but it doesn't need to be the end point. So give it some thought, reflect on it, come back to us. As always, we're very happy to take your questions. And challenge yourselves. It's all about stepping outside of your comfort zone and recognizing, just as Elmo has to come to terms with their identity, you have to come to terms with your identity, not just your gender identity, not just your labels, not just your pronouns, but certainly your ethical principles and the kind of clinician and doctor that you will one day want yourself to become.
Absolutely, your clinical doctor identity. Yeah. Thank you so much once again. I am going to stop this recording. Elmo's got lots of news to go tell.